This is Heather Dell, and you're watching Motown Really, listening on WJZZ TV, Cool TV, and podcast. 2021, we made it. I don't know how much better it's going to be, but we're still talking about real estate here at Motown Realty. Real information about real estate for real people. Jay Taylor, my co host, is going to be calling in. He actually has the logistical challenges everybody else has with kids and houses and work and everything else. So he's going to be calling in. We also have Paula Drummond calling in. She is a native Detroiter, and she's a broker investor. I had a great conversation with her the other day over one of her listings, and she was just so eloquent in her way of talking about how to buy something, how to start real estate investing without any money. And I know these things, but the way she delivered it was so fantastic. I said, can you please call in and talk to us? She's a member of the Oakland Real Estate Investment Association. And like I said, she's a broker, and she had a long history as a lender, a mortgage broker prior to that, over 20 years. So she's got a unique perspective. So we'll wait for Jay to call in, and we talk about our hot pick for today. We have a gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful house coming up in University District. For those of you that aren't real familiar with University District, it's also, you might think of Boston Edison, the big classic houses, the Tudors, the brick homes. This one's on Muirland, 18404 Muirland. And it's absolutely stunning. It's 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. It's 4,400 square feet on a corner lot. And it was built in 1927, so it's got those really distinctive features. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. And wow, I got music. Where's the music coming from? I got a lot of music going on here. So yeah, so we'll talk about the University District, and I got some information from the University District Community Association. And we're just going to wait a second here for Jay to call in. I like the music. You guys got the music? This is kind of nice, right? Kind of sultry. It's like being in a piano bar. So a lot of people have talked to me lately about security because it feels like the world's burning, right? Everything's on fire. And I was kind of thinking about it. I was looking at all those different security systems, the one you can put in yourself, ADT, the central alarms, the central alarms that run to fire station, police station if something's going on. I think the Ring doorbell has some good products, but at the end of the day, the way things are right now, I think the best thing you can do for security for yourself and your home is just get a big ass dog. That's what I decided. I was over at the Humane Society. We have a beautiful Humane Society here in Detroit. We also have Detroit Animal Care and Control. You can go get yourself a mixed breed or pretty much even a purebred of any dog you want. So that's what I'm going to say for security's sake right now. Get yourself a big ass dog. Train the dog well. Get the dog to know you and the kids and protect your house. Okay, well, 18404 Muirland, University District. That area is west of Woodward, south of 7 Mile. There's about 1,400 houses that were built in the 1920s and 1930s, or what was referred to commonly as the golden age of housing. And in Detroit, we've got a lot of unique architecture. They have an annual biennial home and garden tour. They have architectural walking tours. It was formerly known actually as the Golf Club District. And McNichols, for those of you who live here and want to know, we have all these streets named after people. McNichols was actually formerly Palmer, and he was a Father John McNichols of the Jesuit order actually relocated University of Detroit Jesuit to the corner of McNichols, now then known as Palmer, which gave the adjacent neighborhood the name. Hold on, we have. Hey Jay, how are you?
I'm doing so well. How are you, Heather?
I'm good. Oh, hold on. A little bit of technology there. Are you with us?
I sure am. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We were just we touched on how we're going to talk about Maryland today. I was just giving a little bit of background on University District, and I introduced our caller who'll be calling in, and I was also answering a couple viewer questions. Some people had talked to me about security, and I think that's everybody that's top of mind right now for everyone. with the state of things and the way the world is. And I spent some time like genuinely looking at different systems, looking at ADT, looking at the ones you can put in yourself, the Ring doorbells. And I was gonna really get into it on the show, but I've decided that the best thing you can do to protect your family at this moment is just get a big ass dog.
Or small dog. They just say any dog that barks, you know? I think that's all
Well,
the dogs.
that is true. That is true. Yeah, so I have some friends who just got these baby Rottweilers, and they're so cute, and they're raising them with the kids, so they'll all get along, and it'll be just fine. But I was saying that we have a great humane society here in Detroit, and we also have animal care and control. So go get yourself a big dog. Anyway, not that you need it in University District or anywhere, but it's good peace of mind. We've got this beautiful house coming up on Muirland. And I was telling him 18404 Muirland, 5 beds, 4.5 baths, 4,400 square feet. And I was talking about the neighborhood, how it got its name, and the golden age of housing. And Father John McNichols, how the formerly known Palmer, when he moved U of D over there, which is what gave the adjacent neighborhood its name. Um, I think University District's beautiful architecturally, from the historical standpoint. I love that each block has its own captain. And schools, we've got, what do we have over there? We have Palmer Park Prep, Renaissance High School, U of D, Marygrove, and U of D, Mercy. What am I leaving out?
Jesu Elementary.
Oh, right. So you got to ask somebody with kids.
And you got to also include, if you really want the outlier, Thurgood Marshall Elementary.
Oh, right, right, right. See, I need you for this stuff.
Well, so you're actually talking to a resident. It's not just a person who has kids and a person who knows Detroit. You're talking to a resident expert of University District because I happen to live on Block 3 of Wildomere. I happen to be on the board of directors for the University District Community Association.
Are you a captain?
I'm not a block captain. I have no interest in having that level of community access to my life. I've got 3 kids, and it's just a lot. But no, I'm an active participant on the board. I have a monthly board meeting for those of us who are, and a monthly volunteer coordinator meeting, and I do a lot for the neighborhood. It's a lot of fun.
I love the architecture over there. I was saying earlier that those houses were built in the 20s and 30s, that golden age, where every house is different. The Tudors, the brickwork, the detail, the limestone, the Puabic tile, all of it is just beautiful. And actually, the neighborhoods, Sherwood Forest and Palmer Woods, are equally beautiful, but there is something really special about that little pocket right there. And I was looking up some numbers. We haven't had a chance to catch up today, but when I last checked, it looked like the median list price was like $350 to $375 for a fully renovated property.
You know, I would say that number is actually inaccurate now, only because fully renovated it's a sliding scale for sure, but I just saw an unrenovated, completely like 60s kitchen,
Nice.
70s carpet,
Brady Bunch.
like all the things that are wrong with a house today. I just saw that home fetch a 300K price. So what I would say is it's rapidly shifting. If you've got a fully renovated home in that neighborhood and you have anything architecturally interesting, which is 80% of the homes in that neighborhood, you're looking at 400 to 450.
Where would you put the median? Like, where would you put the average? You'd put it at 400?
I put it at the 375 to 400.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're looking like 125 a square foot, maybe 130 a square foot kind of thing?
Yeah, 140 to 150 is now the new normal, actually. I've seen at least 10 homes this year clear 150 a square foot.
So this Muirland house is just stunning. I absolutely love it. They've done a fantastic job with the textiles, the materials. There's a great contrast of materials. They've maintained the character of it. You really should give us a call. You want to come see this house. You can reach me 248-464-1116 and Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave Heather's number. Say it one more time.
248-464-1116. Call me to see this Muirland house. And
so let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. This home is special in so many ways. For one, it boasts absolutely everything that is special about this neighborhood. It's a commanding corner lot, but with a private backyard. It has one of the only attached garages
Hello,
in the
attached garage.
University District. People love this neighborhood, but their big flaw with it is none of the homes have attached garages. It's like maybe one per block or fewer, and this home is one of them. It also has a complete private master suite with attached ensuite bathroom, second floor laundry. Like, these are some amenities that you just don't get in 1920s and 30s homes. Almost all the rooms here, in this house are huge. They're 15 feet by 12 feet. They're just massive rooms. And the master suite is probably 30 feet by 14 feet. Like, it's enough room to be an entire apartment in New York just for the owner
well,
of
a
the
broom
home.
closet sure is an apartment in New York, but yeah, I get your point.
Yeah.
No,
And so
it's
you're sitting here
beautiful.
looking at this home, and if that wasn't enough, it's got a fireplace in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the leaded glass windows are original, and with storm windows outside of them, it keeps them efficient. You're looking at a huge door wall that lets you into the backyard and a fully renovated kitchen. Everything is just perfection on this home. It's got a full bathroom in the basement, a half bathroom on the first floor, and then, gosh, how many bathrooms up?
Four
Four.
full and one half, to the best of
That's
my
just insane.
knowledge. Yeah, I don't even know if they've got one in the basement, but I'm sure it's plumbed if it's not there for another half
So
bath.
we've seen several homes in that neighborhood clear $400,000, and we've seen a couple homes creep up on $500,000. And this will be the one that, if the market has sustained the value that we're seeing it, we're going to get buyers in the 500s.
Yeah, no, I think it's a stunning house. I'm really excited. You have to go to J. Taylor Associates website, check it out.
JTARealtors.com.
Yep, there you go. Also on Instagram and Facebook and everything else out there. J. Taylor, how can you forget that? It's perfect. It's so easy. JTA. And yeah, so I think I'll probably be doing an open house on it in the next couple weeks, depending if we might get a ton of offers right away. But if you're looking to squeeze into University District, it's few and far between. There's not a lot of inventory. This house is knockout. I'm telling you, it's knockout.
Yeah, it's got a complete stucco exterior. It's got all three floors fully finished. It's got a basement that's partially finished, and you won't find anything like it.
I think we have our caller, Paula Drummond. Is Paula on the line?
Yes, how are you?
Hi, Paula. Thanks for joining Motown Realty on WJZZ Cool TV and podcast. I've got Jay Taylor on the line. He's a co-host. We're kind of finagling with phones today because he's also juggling kids and schedules.
Okay.
We just did a little quick introduction about you. That you're a member of the Oakland Real Estate Investment Association and formerly a mortgage specialist. And
Yes.
now you're a broker investor. And Jay and I have a listing coming up in University District on Muirland. And we're talking about median prices here, 350, 375, 450. And I love it when local people can get into investing and end up in the house of their dreams. I'm standing on Puritan with you yesterday, showing one of your properties, and you just delivered the most eloquent, motivational talk to me about get out and buy a property. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have a lot of money. And I would love for you to talk to our listeners and our viewers about how to get started with no money. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your properties, and that moment where you were working in the mortgage business and you were like, I'm done. That's it. I'm out.
Well, first, thank you for having me. I always try to get people to invest in real estate because it's something that I wish I had gotten started with a lot sooner. I was a mortgage loan officer for 23 years, and I'm mostly with what they call a CRA in the CRA department, or for like low and moderate income people in areas.
Do you mind elaborating on that a little? A lot of our listeners and viewers are just starting to get started. That might be something interesting for them to hear about.
Well, what CRA is, it's a Community Reinvestment Act, and all of the banks are required by law to loan out a certain amount of money in areas that are not high end. So areas like Detroit and Hamtramck and Lincoln Park, areas that are where people's income they're not high income people. They kind of meet what they call the median income.
Okay.
And it changes every year. So they want to make sure that people who are lower income have an opportunity for home ownership. So I work mostly with first time home buyers, which I really loved.
Mhm.
And I did it for 23 years, and it got to the point where it wasn't fun anymore because of all of the regulations and a lot of the changes in the industry.
It
So
takes the
I
human aspect
survived.
out.
Pardon me?
It kind of takes the human aspect out of it for a lot of
Yeah, it was
us.
taking the human aspect out of it, and it got to the point where they weren't loaning money the same way, and I was working so hard trying
Mm.
to make loans fit that they would not accept. So I suffered. In fact, I had a mortgage company during the mortgage crash, so I really lost my hiney there.
Well,
Um,
clearly you've made a good
so
comeback.
yeah, so it was really it was worse than the news ever reported.
Yeah.
And so later on, I found out about. I helped a lot of people as a loan officer. I helped people to purchase homes where people were looking to have rental properties, but everything was done the traditional way. You know, going through the real estate agent, going through and getting the actual mortgage to be able to own your home or to be able to buy a property. And then when I started seeking things out, I found that there was a whole world of real estate that I had no knowledge of, even after being a loan officer for 23 years. And so I learned that you could be able to buy property or obtain property or have control over property without having to have any money.
And you can do that. I just for everybody that's listening and watching, as agents and brokers, we can help you find that. We can help you find the land contracts and different kinds of products that Paula's going to elaborate on. But
Yes,
just as a reminder, you don't have to go it alone, and it doesn't cost you anything to work with a buyer's agent. But go ahead, Paula.
correct. And so for instance, say if your credit is not good, you can, be able to purchase a house on a land contract and just have your agent work with you to negotiate a good price. So that way your payment is enough where you could make the payment plus have a profit.
Which is
And you're
amazing.
still making the so say for instance if you find a house and your payment to your land contract holder is $500 a month. Well, maybe you could be able to rent the house out for $900 a month.
Yeah.
And then that way you could be able to pocket the difference and put yourself in a position where you can have additional income coming in. There's also you can do what's called a lease option, or lease with an option to buy.
Well, Jay and I
So with
just did this. This was a learning curve for me. I've done land contracts, seller financing. I've done all that, but we just did this lease with option to buy. So I'm loving your take on this.
yes, and with the lease option, you don't have ownership of the property, but you have control over the property. And by you having control over the property, that allows you to be able to make income off of that property.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different ways. A lot of times, it just requires that you think outside of the box
Mm-hmm.
and just be more creative.
Okay.
That's all. And so, but we're taught to think inside the box. So you just kind of like you just need to, get your hammer and your chisel and get out of that box.
A big purple crayon.
Right,
It
exactly.
just draw outside the
Exactly.
lines.
Exactly. And one of the things I do is I really do encourage women to to break out and actually become a property owner and actually own rental property. I think about I raised my daughter. It was just my daughter and I just think about how much more time I would have had I
Mm.
had more passive income,
Yeah. That's
income that I'm not toiling over and having to trade my hours for dollars. And had I had that, I would have had more hours to spend with my daughter.
that's actually really, really, really important. That's a great thing, and I know a lot of people go into real estate too to have flexibility with their families. But so basically, you're
Right.
saying that you know, really grinding it out, working really hard for a corporation, and you were doing amazing things for community, and I would never diminish any of that. But from a purely financial standpoint, the amount of money that you were making in retrospect, like the hindsight of it is like, oh man, I could have just figured this out and had this much income still have good influence on my community, and have time with my daughter. So
Right.
what was your jumping off point?
My jumping off point is actually, it was really funny because I never thought outside the box until, let's see, 7 years ago. This was about 7 years ago, and I got married. And so then I was
I
the
love
place
that
I
you
was
chuckle.
working. It's crazy, but that's why I try to tell people, to do it early. Don't wait for. It was just a crazy situation when I got married, and so my husband wanted me to not work, and I was like, you're not giving me no allowance. I'm not gonna do. You're not gonna give me no $10 a week. I'm just making my own money.
I think that's a healthy relationship. Even I know couples that don't. I always have every relationship I've ever been in. I'm like, nope, we are not commingling funds. Nope, not gonna happen. Nope.
And he's a great guy. He's not selfish or stingy, but it was my mindset,
I
that
get
actually
it.
caused me to break out. And so I went to a real estate one of these workshops, and then I found out about this whole world I had no clue about, but they were charging so much money to be able to get the information.
Yeah.
And so, but out of that, I learned about the real estate. They call them the RIA meetings.
Mhm.
And what I started doing is I started attending the RIA meetings faithfully because the information is close to free.
It
Some
is.
meetings charge to get in. So, like with the Oakland RIA, we charge it's $20 a meeting. Well, when you come every month, it's a different topic, so you can learn different things. And then what happens is, how they say your net worth is your network. So it allows you to
Oh.
network with people who know more than you. And when you come to these meetings, people will share the information. So you can talk to experienced landlords. You can talk to people who are actually rehabbing and flipping houses, and actually sit down and have a meal with them because they serve dinner when it's not COVID.
Yeah.
Um, where you could be able to sit down and learn a lot from people who have a lot of experience in it. I also go to one. The lady's name is Wendy Patton,
Mhm.
and she's over the Michigan RIA, and they meet in Troy. And I just learned so much. So you have to put yourself in the position to get the information. And her meeting is $20 a meeting, or you could buy for both of these groups. You can buy a membership, and then just go every month. But you have to be committed. So, for instance, when I was learning this other area of real estate, my family already knew the second and the third Thursday of every month. This is what I'm doing. I'm not coming to any birthday parties. I'm not coming to
This is my
anything because
social activity.
exactly this is what I do. And then you get a chance to meet people and get the help that you need. But you have to be committed to your educational process. I see a lot of people or I've talked to people who over time, they think that having rental property is a big headache, or they hear all these horror stories, so it scares them away. But what I noticed is that those people who made those mistakes, they didn't know what they were doing, and they didn't know where to get the information. So you can make a lot of money in real estate, and sometimes you can make it quick. But you can also lose a lot of money in real estate, and
Yep.
you can lose it quick
Great
if
risks
you
and
don't
great
know what you're
rewards.
doing.
Yeah. So
So
so tell us how where can we find where can for those of us so for those listening and watching, where can they find the schedule for the Oakland Real Estate Investment Group, and
you
how
can
you
go
can?
online.
Okay.
If you just Google it, you can Google any of these. They're all online, and they'll tell you when they're having their meetings. I kind of hate that. I really hate COVID for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are, we're operating online and having online classes. And right now, those classes are free because, there's no facilities to pay for.
So the
Um,
Oakland Real Estate Investor Association has free classes online because of
Correct. Right
COVID.
now, it's
Yeah.
free. In fact, when I didn't think about it when you and I talked earlier today, Heather, but there's actually a RIA meeting tonight. If you just Google, Oakland RIA of Michigan, you'll see it, and you could be able to go to the website, and you'll be able to get right into the meeting.
Oh, okay. So Google Oakland RIA of Michigan, And you'll be
Yes.
able to join the meeting. For anyone who's listening and watching, you can hop on that meeting tonight
Yes, at 7 o'clock.
at 7 o'clock. I'm going to look that up for you. I know Jay too. Jay, you're involved in. You've taken a lot of the courses, and you've not courses, but you've joined a lot of the networking groups. Any that stick out to you? Have you ever dealt with Oakland Real Estate Investors Association?
I have not. However, I do know of the one on Facebook that I'm a part of, the Metro Detroit Real Estate Investors Facebook page. And every time I have an off-market listing that, for whatever reason is not well positioned for the MLS, I've never had a hard time selling it there. People there are ready to do buying, they're ready to do selling, and they're really ready just to network with other people with like minds. So I love that place. I think any real estate investor group is a fun place to find other like-minded individuals doing the same thing you're doing. It's a lot of cooperation and not a lot of competition.
Yes.
Paula, do you ever go on that site, the Facebook page? I've been on it. I've put some stuff up there, some off-market properties, or some coming soons, or some haves and wants. But I love the idea of going to these organizations with speakers like Wendy Patton, who I'm a huge fan, to learn how to do this. So then you could get to the point where you can get to these Facebook pages and these opportunities when you're looking for properties. So I
Yes.
love that. So Oakland RIA, let's see, Association, tonight at 7 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Okay. And can you phone in, or is it, is it like a Zoom?
It's a Zoom meeting.
Okay, riaofoakland.com.
Yes, so
Okay,
Yeah, so it's on Zoom.
perfect. All right. And it's $25 a month, is that what you said?
Well, no, right now there's no charge.
Oh, right, because of COVID.
Because it's all online. However, when we do have face-to-face, in-person meetings, then it's $20 a month, and then it's $120 a year for the membership, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Awesome.
So then you could go every month, and then we also serve dinner, so we have it at the at Club Venetian.
Ooh.
In Madison Heights on on John R. and 12 mile, between 12 and 13 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to have dinner, you can have dinner. If you don't want to have dinner, you don't have to. But it's a great way to to network and meet other like-minded people and to get the information you need to be successful with it.
I love that. I love networking. Paula and Jay, thanks. You guys are on WJZZ Cool TV. This is Motown Realty. And Paula, I'm looking at the website, and I hope I have the right one. It says that members also receive discounts from local and national suppliers.
Yes, so you get discounts from Home Depot, Sherwin-Williams. I think those are the two that I've used. And so then you get cash back on the ones from Home Depot.
Oh, I like that. We
And
all
I,
like
I
that.
spent enough money at Home Depot where my membership is more than free. So, it saves you money there, and you'll get your you get your cash back discounts. And then also Sherwin-Williams has a program.
Look at you. You're like, we got to have you on every week. So this interesting building that I showed, full transparency, wrote an offer on today, hoping you'll accept the offer. I have somebody very interested. It's a fantastic building on Puritan. How did you come about that property? You had an interesting story for that one.
Yes. Well, I was helping. One of the things I've learned is don't help family, friends, or church members.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Don't miss business. And so I broke my cardinal rules, helped a church member and a friend, and so I was helping him to obtain a building so that he can have his business there.
Mm-hmm.
And he defaulted on our payment arrangement.
And that was like I'm just gonna
Pardon me?
I'm just gonna step on you for a second, just for the listeners and the viewers. And that was, for all intent and purpose, that was a land contract. That was a seller financing situation. So it was lower risk for you because if this person defaulted, you kept the money and got the property back.
Correct.
And that's where we are.
Yes. And so, I finally got tired and so I sold the building.
Okay.
I bought the building through the um, the Wayne County tax auction.
Okay.
So that's another, great way to get property. I know that now the properties are going for more because more people know about it and it's online, but you can still find some really, really great deals there.
So the tax auctions, those are interesting. I know in some cases with the residential, and this building that you have, the one in particular we're speaking about, is a commercial or mixed multi-use building. Um,
Yes.
I know that a lot of buyers have reservations about auctions because very often they can't get in to see the properties and they have to just commit to buying it as is. Have you found that?
Yes.
Have you found a way around that, or how do you mitigate
Well,
your own
what I
risk?
typically do, because I do have rental properties myself, and so what I do is I'll go through. I'll take my nieces and nephews with me, and I'll make a list of homes that I'm interested in purchasing.
I love
And
this.
so what I'll do is I have a little flyer, and I'll just go and put it on their door. And then a lot of times they'll call me, and answer, to the postcards that I place on their door,
Hmm.
and then I try to get into the home if I can.
Gotcha. Okay.
So just having a conversation with that person, letting them know, okay, the house is being sold for taxes. See what their situation is, because sometimes you're able to help them.
Hmm.
I've purchased properties where it was the landlord who was losing the home,
Oh, but the
and
tenant
so
was up to date.
because they're already in it,
Yeah.
I inherit a tenant, and so now I'm able to create some rapport there, and actually see what's going on inside the house.
So tell us
Um,
when you if someone wanted to go to a tax auction now and find out who was still in, I guess I don't know if they were still in the redemption period or if it was already past
you know, with,
redemption.
with the Wayne County tax auction, once it hits the list and it is going for auction, that's it.
Okay.
There's no redemption period. It just once you purchase a home at the tax auction, it's about a good 60 to 90 days before you can take possession of the property.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I try to get in the house beforehand if I can. I have purchased property sight unseen. I drive past, look at the
Mhm.
neighborhood, see the house, see if the house on the outside is in fairly decent condition, because a lot of times that's an indication of what's going on inside. Although that's not always,
Mhm.
because I know I did that one time. The house was beautiful on the outside, and I went inside, and it was terrible.
Oh yeah.
But
Like a
that's a
family of
risk.
raccoons in the living room. Yeah.
Yeah, they had dog cages in the living room, had
Oh.
no furnace or hot water. It was a mess.
Yeah.
And when I went into the house, all of my eyes started tearing up because all I could see is dollar signs,
Oh.
money that I had to spend. But that's a risk that you take, and you that's a calculated risk that is there. So if it's you might not want to be surprised, but you have to take surprises into account.
Yeah. Yeah. I that is interesting. So if somebody wanted to go on to the Wayne County tax auction, somebody wanted to um, would you just? I always just send them to the website. Is that your
Right.
recommendation to get started, to
Yes.
register, set up an
Yeah, you go
account?
to the website
Mm-hmm.
and they'll let you know all the homes that are listed. I know last year they did not have a tax auction because of COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do this year, because they are trying to work with people, so that they don't lose their homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the reality is that some people, there are going to be some homes on the tax foreclosure list when that time comes.
Yeah. Now, Paula, have you ever? I learned from Wendy. She talked about an opportunity where you can do subject to. So you just talked about identifying properties on the auction list and then door knocking them, if you will, or dropping notes, trying to get in to see them because once they go to auction, well, you try to get in before they're cut off from the redemption period so you can see them. Um, and in the case like you just explained, where a owner of a property is default on taxes, but the tenant is paid up, you can kind of sweep in, save that property, and keep the tenants in place, and it's a win-win. Their credit, they don't have to relocate. The kids can stay in school, et cetera, et cetera. You've got passive income, But are you responsible? Tell for our listeners and viewers the amount of tax that you're responsible for, or what can someone expect to have to pay um, when they get into
Okay.
that situation.
If you purchase through the tax foreclosure auction, you're gonna the tax the the bid starts at the amount of back taxes. And
Okay,
then what they also require is that you pay whatever, once you win the bid, you also have to pay that current year's taxes.
correct.
And then
Yeah,
that'll be your total for whatever the bid amount is should you win the bid.
right. And the bid can go a lot higher. I run into this with people all the time, and I feel bad. They're like, okay, well, the reserve price, or as you were just explaining, is the amount that's owed, the tax that's owed, and then there's the current taxes. But some of these properties go a lot higher.
Oh yeah, they go way up. And so, that's why you have to always look at several properties because maybe they might go up higher than what I'm willing to bid, or
Hmm.
maybe they might go up higher than the amount of money that I have.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then what happens is they have two auctions. So they have one in September and one in October. So the one in September is it starts at whatever all the back taxes is. Then they have the one in October. Any homes that didn't sell in September, they sell them again, and they'll put them up for auction in October, and then those bids start at $500,
Wow, that's crazy.
regardless as to how much. So then the bids go from the 500 and up, and whatever if you win the bid, whatever amount that price that you won the bid for, you pay that, and then you also have to pay that current year taxes.
Gotcha. Oakland County, Andy Meisner, a couple years ago, I did a Realtor to the Rescue program. It sounds corny, but the concept was good. It was
Yeah,
going to those houses, identifying those properties, and then finding first time buyers and helping them transition into them. And I think they operate the same way with the September, October auctions. And then the second round, they start with a minimum, a ridiculously low minimum. So,
yes, and I've never purchased in the Oakland County one. Although I did go to the meeting that they had. I gone twice for the Realtor to the
oh,
Rescue.
so you were there
Um,
too. Okay.
yes, the homes that I've actually purchased are all in Wayne County
Okay.
through the tax auction.
I think, well, that's what we're focused on here. That's what the show is focused on here. But I always, the counties are tied. I don't know. I don't have any knowledge of Macomb, to be honest. But, the Tri County area is so tight. Sometimes people will spill over. They want to look at properties in Southfield, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
that's great. So now you have a real estate license. You're a broker, but you mainly make your money through the investing and passive income.
Correct.
Very
That is
nice.
correct.
Very nice. So if you had one piece of advice, um, and I always, the whole reason for starting this program was, and Jay knows this, he's heard this a million times, but I was showing investment properties in the city, and if an investor was late, I would be standing outside my car, and people would start, women, it's always women, come out of the house and say, "Are you a realtor?" And I say, "Yeah." And then they say, "Can you help me?" Nobody will help me. And this whole program, this whole thing started that way because there were so many people that said nobody will help me. And part of that is the commission structure, because a lot of realtors it's a problem for all of us. We literally can't afford to work with certain price points because we can't make any money. It's not even about making a little money. We can't even break even sometimes. So I started
Yeah.
having conversations and doing little workshops, and again, predominantly women, and would say to them, "Hey, if your credit's good and you're working and you're caught up and you're paying your rent, you can buy a house." So that's kind of how that started, and I think that's what I love too, that you were kind of speaking to the sisterhood. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic thing. So if someone was out there, I say and I'm not 30, but say I'm 30 years old, I'm renting. My credit's fairly good. I've got enough money left over for a monthly payment on something. What would you suggest that they buy?
Well, if they're looking to buy for themselves, this is we know it's a great time because the interest rates are so low, are
Mm-hmm.
really low. And so in that instance, I would tell them to that they need to get approved for their mortgage loan, and then get set up with a to call you as a realtor.
Call Heather
And
Deller
so
J.
you can help
Taylor.
to find them a house, but you need to get they need to get qualified for their mortgage first,
Yeah,
because there's no need to shop, go out and
yeah,
start shopping for a house, and then you find the house you need or you want, and then say if there's a hiccup along the way, you don't qualify for your mortgage, or maybe you think you could afford a certain amount, but the bank won't loan you that amount.
yeah.
So the first step you would need to do is get qualified for your mortgage. There's a lot of first home buyer programs out there. So I would say go someplace where they're familiar with the programs, because a lot of a lot of different places may not be hooked in properly.
Yeah, I've
So
talked
for
about
instance,
Mishta quite a bit.
yes, I was going to mention MISHTA. It's a FHA loan, but there's some other dynamics that go with it, and every lender is not MISHTA approved.
Correct.
But they're giving out like $15,000 in grant money to purchase. So it's something. So you would have to seek out that type of lender. So that would be the first thing I would say if you're looking to buy a home for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to start investing, that's a different ball game. So in that instance, you need to find out what area that you are most comfortable with in terms of buying rental property. And there's a whole lot of other things that go into that, because there's different ways to purchase. You could pay cash if you were to get personal line of credit. There's a lot of different ways to do that. So that's a whole another conversation. But what
Well,
I
we'll
would
just
say
have
is
to
if it's
have you
something
back
that you
on the
want to
show.
do, is to get started, because a lot of times people get scared.
Mm-hmm.
So I say go to the meetings online with Wendy Patton and the Oakland RIA. They also have one called the Detroit Renegades.
The
That one is
Detroit
not so much.
Renegades. Okay.
Yeah, the Detroit Renegades. That one is not so much educational, but it's more for networking and getting properties sold that you have under contract.
This
But
is
but I
fantastic.
never miss that meeting when COVID's not around. So I really want this to be over so I can be able to have my social life back.
I know, I know. Well, I'm afraid that I'm going to be like gum on the bottom of your shoe. You're going to have a hard time getting rid of me now because I'm going to start wanting to go to some of these meetings with you. And I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Well,
We
thank you for
so,
having me.
yeah, we so appreciate it. And you're a font of knowledge. And I would love to have you back on. And let's hopefully make a deal on Puritan.
Oh yes, I'm going to go over. I've been kind of busy with a few things around the house today, but I'm going to go through and get that all taken care of so we can go and move to
Oh,
the next step.
fantastic. Well, I'll give you a call after the show. Paula, thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, and thanks for having me.
Okay, have a good day. Bye.
Bye bye.
You're listening and watching WJZZ Cool TV and podcast. Jay, you still with us? Jay?
I sure am. I'm here. I just was on mute for a very long time.
Sorry about that. So Paula Drummond, she was amazing talking about all the different options for getting started. But I just love, and I know that because you're calling in and she had called in, you had some difficulties hearing it, but you'll have to watch the show later. She was pretty great. So that was what we were talking about. The one thing that she said stops people, and this I could say from my own personal standpoint, what's stopping me from doing it is being concerned about how to handle the maintenance and how to collect the rent. You're also a property owner. What do you tell people
Yes.
when they say, oh, am I going to be able to get the rent? Am I going to be able to get the maintenance done? Like, what am I obligated to do? And obviously, there's great tenants and there's good tenants and then there's just tenants. But in general, would you say that should stop somebody from buying an investment property?
Well, I tell people investment properties are no different than any other investment in the sense that your risk tolerance will dictate what you should or shouldn't do. If you're afraid of losing money, don't buy a rental property because you will have a bad tenant in your history of rentals. You
Mm-hmm.
will have a bad tenant at some point. So if you're afraid of losing money in the short game, don't do it. But if you're okay with carrying a loss from time to time, knowing that over the course of time you'll always have a gain, then real estate investment's for you. All that to say, I always factor in 10% for property management so that the hassle of rent collection is not on my plate. I've got a property management company and they use a property management software, and every month on the 7th I receive a paycheck, no different than a job, only I didn't have to work for it. Somebody else worked for it, and then I still got my $700 in my account for that property.
I love
Or,
that. You're listening
it's just a good way to think about it.
Yeah, you're listening to Jay Taylor and Heather Dell on Motown Realty, WJZZ Cool TV and podcast. So we all like money that we don't have to work for, right? I'm not real familiar with that, but maybe I should get into the investment game. But we started out the show talking about listing on Murlin, that residence. And we had some great investment tips from Paula Drummond. We learned a lot about that. I'd love to round out the show talking about the next fun thing we have coming up, and that is selling an actual business along with real estate. And that's a whole nother, there's a whole lot wound around that, Axel, that we can get into. But in the short term, let's talk about Alanosi Ice Cream and Chocolates, a Detroit institution for coming up on 100 years. And you've been over there with me.
They're just a month or two away from being their 100th year in business, and they're for sale.
I know. I mean, this is what we're going to photograph it on Saturday, and we're going to get it up on the MLS. So it's part of history. For those of you that don't know or aren't familiar, you can pretty much ask anybody, particularly East Siders, who was around in the 50s and 60s. Alanosi's has a phenomenal soda fountain. It's like a museum. It's an absolute museum. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's stunning. So the business includes the whole soda fountain with the counters and everything. All of the equipment, which includes specialty equipment that was made for the business, brought in from New York to make their famous spumoni. I never pronounce it correctly. Spumoni. For those of you who aren't Italian, spumoni is like a molded gelato, and it's traditionally usually like cherry and pistachio and vanilla, kind of the precursor to Neapolitan. One of the things that's unique about Alanosi's product is that they've always sold slices. And I know there's a lot of food distributors, dairy distributors, and companies out there that would love to have that slicing technology. So here's the chance to get those slicers individually wrapped inside the classic box. You had some recently, didn't you? Didn't you take some home for a party?
I will tell you, I had never heard of spumoni before in my life. And here I was about to represent the man who, started and finished the game for Spumoni in Detroit. So before I signed any listing paperwork with him, I ran to the closest store that sold his product and bought it.
Papa
took
Joe's.
it home and let all my kids enjoy it. I didn't go to Papa Joe's. I went to something over in Grosse Pointe, a little
Well, we went to the chocolate
there.
bar. Yeah, we went to the chocolate bar.
Yep, and enjoyed some delicious spumoni. And I will tell you right now, it is, you're not wrong. It's the precursor to Neapolitan, but better.
Yeah. And they still use the original recipes, which have a higher milk fat content. So those recipes are also part of the business. That's the interesting thing about listing a business. You've got the actual business, the client base, the vendor list, the relationships. Then you've got, there's all the financials, of course. And then the equipment, right? In this case, the business comes with a refrigerator truck, all the inventory, all the boxes, all the traditional packaging, hundreds of classic chocolate molds, and the chocolate kitchen, which includes stone slabs that have been in use for 100 years, and the copper kettles. So if you're out there and you want a little piece of history, Alanosi Ice Cream and Chocolates, for sale. Detroit legend, generations. We would love somebody to come along and preserve the traditions and the flavors and the recipes. And that'll be live next week. You still there, Jay? Oh, I think we lost him. I think we lost Jay. So, let's see. You can get Alanosi ice cream and spumoni at Papa Joe's, and you can also get it delivered through Schwann's. They do have multiple outlets. If you've ever been to any of the a wedding or reception, a party, a prom at some of the bigger halls in Metro Detroit, I'm sure you've had it. It comes out in a little slice. It's this beautiful, beautiful little slice, and and it's absolutely perfection. So Alanosi Ice Cream and Chocolates is for sale. So who wants a part of this institution and this part of Detroit history? All right, so we've got a few minutes left, and I just thought I'd do something dorky. I always give you guys some homework to do. Everyone's whining about COVID, and there's nothing to do, and we can't get together. So here's your little errand for the week, right? One of the fun things to do in Detroit, the People Mover has 13 stops, and not everybody knows that they have some of the best public art in the country. It was very well planned and well thought out. Giant mosaics. Four of the stations are done in Pewabic pottery. If you're not familiar with Pewabic pottery, that's a whole nother, we could spend an hour on that. But that was founded by Michigan resident Mary Chase Perry. She was from Copper Country in the UP. They moved down here after her father died. She studied art. And long story short, she studied art and ceramics. They ended up living by Calkins Dental Supply on the east side, who had kilns to make teeth and dental things, and she started Pewabic pottery. So several of the People Mover stations are Pewabic. This special technique that she used utilized local resources, the kaolin, the clay, the feldspar, and flint. If you get to the Kobo stop on the People Mover, there's full-size cars. The financial district is a giant D. So for practically free, you can go out and see some great public art, get some fresh air, get out with your friends, take the kids, hit the People Mover, and get off at each station and spend some time there. There's a lot of history at all those stations. So that's your fun thing to do in Detroit this week. You can look out for our listing coming up on Muirland and Alanosi Spumoni Ice Cream and Chocolate. You can also get it at the Chocolate Bar in Grosse Pointe. And next week, I'm not even sure what we're going to talk about next week. There are so many things coming in right now. I'm going to take some listener and viewer emails and calls. And just remember, if you want to give us a shout next week, you can give us a call on Cool TV at 313-355-6018. I'm Heather Dell and Jay Taylor, who signed off a little early. Thanks for joining us on Motown Realty. Real information about real estate for real people. We hope you can join us next time. If you've got stories, you can you can give us a call here, or you can give my cell phone a call if you're interested in the properties, or you just have an interest in the show, you want to come on, 248-464-1116. So go Detroit, go Alanosi Ice Cream, University District, get out on the People Mover, and get some fresh air with your kids. Go check out those 13 stations with terrific public art. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you, and hope that we'll see you next week.